What's up, everybody? Rabid Hedgehog here. We're at Indian of Oklahoma City, and finally we're going to get to do the brand new for this year, the Springfield Dark Horse with the 116 engine. So they have made changes to the Springfield, made it more look in line with the Chieftain. They opened up fenders, the squared off bags, all that has been made. Of course, this is the Dark Horse, so it's all blacked out. Like I said, coming with the 116 engine this time versus the 111. And the fact that they've changed the handlebars, because remember the old Springfield, even the Dark Horse, had the lower set bars. This one has more of the mini ape feel on it, which for touring is not generally a bad deal. All right, so let's climb up on this big green house here. And this is actually my favorite color coming out on motorcycles right now is a sagebrush smoke. They've got it on the Bobber 20, and I like it on that one too. This one just, it works. But Mr. Hedgehog, green is a bad thing. Now green, if you're superstitious, you just need to stop. Green on a motorcycle doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's your riding ability. If you're blaming the color of the bike, well, you need to look in the mirror and start blaming that. All right. So what we got here is the big old on button. That will start everything. As you can see, we are in sport mode. So on your dial, it does have a little LCD screen there, speedometer, side stand warning, bright, general maintenance, engine service, left and right, tire pressure monitoring, ABS. All right, so you can go through front tire pressure, rear tire pressure. There's your ride modes. You can hold that on the right side. You'll see that's that right trigger. There's sport mode. All right, cylinder deactivation's on there as well. We're going to keep it in sport mode because we are going to keep it in sport mode. All right, of course, on the right side, you do have your cruise control. So you have on, and then you have, you'll see it down there, there's your on. Then you can set it by turning it to the left or pushing it to the right to go other ways. All right. And then on the left side, you'll go to your trip odometer, trip 2, regular odometer, tachometer, battery, temperature, miles per gallon, range on fuel, and all that good stuff. Bright, flash pass push, horn, turn signal, self-cancel, or press to middle. And of course, you have an adjustable brake lever, but not clutch lever. All right, so quite a few fun things here. Of course, you do have a regular old good style gas gauge. Press to fire. We are fired, and down here is your saddlebag locking commands. All right, let's take this bad boy for a ride and see how she feels versus the old Springfield, which was one of my favorite motorcycles in this category. Let's see if this one's improved ergonomics or changed ergonomics, depending on how this ride goes. All right, one thing I will point out, we do have floorboards, but we just have the regular old toe shift. One thing for sure, usually on a bike like this, I automatically will add a heel toe shifter for more comfort and usability on the road. I just like heel toe shifters. When you have a floorboard, it seems to be easier to operate and shift. Personal preference though. All right. Like I said, we are in sport mode, so we're going to use everything this 116 engine has. Of course, we have tour and standard modes on this. I do want to mention that you can rock the hand grip there forward to turn off cruise control as well. That is a canceling mechanism. All right, taking out the lighter, happier Springfield versus the Chieftains and the Roadmasters and everything with the big fairings. This 116 is alive and well. Plenty of power in this motorcycle. In fact, I got up to speed faster than I thought I did. I was going a little bit faster than I need to. You forget sometimes how easily the power comes on these Thunderstrokes because, of course, it's a big V-twin, not necessarily the massive horsepower you're looking for, but it's got torque to move the earth. All right, we'll go ahead and set this cruise control here real fast. All right, mirrors. I mean, I have to move my elbows up and stuff to actually see them. Clear visibility across the way. nicely set out. No vibrations coming through really from the engine at all, so the picture behind me is clear. Now, of course, we do have the good old Fox suspension below and the big old fork in the front, and this thing absorbs these bumps rather nicely. Now, I have to say the change position is a little bit to get used to. I'm used to the old Springfield's bars being down and back towards you. This one, of course, is that more miniature 8. So my body actually is a little bit more hunched over so I can reach the bars correctly. Of course, that's something that's easily taken care of by loosening the clamp and bringing the bar back a smidge. That will be a little bit more useful for me. I am 6 foot tall, but I have oddly short arms, and my legs are kind of awkwardly either long or short, but my torso is fairly long. It depends on how you look at me. But you can see that my knees do slightly come above the tank the way we're positioned here, and I'm kind of in a partial clamshell. So my shoulders, they go down, and then it hits the elbow and it comes up a little bit to get back to the bar where they are at. So it's not a natural fall, there's a little bit of a reach instead of a good old natural fall. But it is not uncomfortable. One thing is I can get very good visibility looking around here. I don't have much in the way of things in the way, which is kind of nice. So my arm is not getting in the way of anything that I need to do, even though I'm sitting more into this bike. It's not a bike you feel like you're sitting on top of. You actually do feel more down into this machine. That's why it feels like I'm coming out of the machine at the same time. But it rides very comfortably. I'm gonna go ahead and scroll over here. We'll get to the tachometer here. There we go. And we'll go through tachometer readings here momentarily. Now, one thing is these bikes are incredibly silent coming out of the factory. They're not a very loud machine whatsoever. So it just kind of burbles along, but it's a happy sound. It has a really good bass tone coming out of it. And like I said, the Thunderstrokes have always been very, very smooth, incredible torque, low end, and incredible engine braking and compression braking, however you want to call it. So whenever you downshift on this thing, you're going to get drugged down very quickly. Or as soon as you release the throttle, it'll start slowing its way down unless it's an absolute top gear and you're not going fast enough for it, but then it starts to bog. So this engine likes to be happily in around the 2,000 RPM range or so at all time whenever you're riding. If it gets up in there and goes a little bit higher, it's no big deal though. The engine stays smooth throughout the entire operating process. So you really don't feel anything coming through on the handlebars or anything terrifying. This thing just rides really well. And the Springfield chassis has the, better rake, a little bit longer wheelbase too than your Chieftains. And to be honest, it helps this thing ride. It doesn't turn as well to me. And that's kind of a weird thing to say. Without all the weight, it doesn't turn as fast as the Chieftains and the Roadmasters because there's just not that much, there's not much rake to those two. So this one does take a little bit more input to the bar to get it to turn. But it's not a bad deal. This is designed for long road trips, long over the road, and you're not going to be trying to drag a knee or anything with this kind of bike. This thing is too low to the ground. It is not a sport bike. It is not to be handled as a sport bike. It's to be handled as a gentle giant of touring. And it really is a gentle giant of touring. And the suspension is wonderful. Now, I will say the stock Indian seats with the newer style seats that they got on them now, including the Chieftains and stuff, I wish that there was a little bit more to them. And this thing gets right up to speed, as you can see, just fine. That 116 pulls really, really well. Right now, we're at 60 miles an hour for our interstate speed. We're running around 2,300 RPM. Make sure it's level there, 2250 to 2300, maybe 2350 on the maximum end, depending on the lower scale or the higher scale of 60 by the clock. Pick that up just a smidge. As you can see, at 70 miles an hour, you're achieving that around 2650 RPM. So this engine's not really spinning at all, getting up to speed. And it holds it very well. It's just one of those things that's nice and tame. Of course, I am in 6th gear, so that is a top gear engine speed. Now, what I do like for sure is that these bars feel a little bit wider out for some reason to me than the old Springfield. Like I said, they came back and kind of looped back to you. This one feels more wide out, fist in the wind. And I actually kind of prefer that a little bit more than being tucked like that. So this does help my ergonomic position. The only thing is, like I said, I could use the handlebars to come back just a smidge. If I was to get this bike for myself, I'd pull them back just a smidge to make it a little bit more comfy. But the width, the grip size, and everything is perfect. Ergonomically, everything's real easy to get to, including that back joystick on the right. Everything is all, don't even need to look at it. It's all just very simple and easy and to the point. We're doing this all with engine braking, folks, and this thing will engine brake almost to a crawling stop. Now remember, this one does have cylinder deactivation, so if you heard that backing off, it sounded like it was running on one cylinder, because it was running on one cylinder. It is a little warm today. Big bump there, and that suspension is lovely. This thing, you know, you go through and you have the newer Goldwing without the tour pack, but it has a full fairing. It's very smooth. It's its own level of refinement. There's just something about a machine that you can be a part of. Like I said, you sit into this bike. The Goldwing, you sit on top of it. This bike, you feel more of the mechanical, you hear more of the mechanical, whereas the Goldwing, you don't feel anything but glass and smooth, and you barely hear the engine working. There's something about a bonding between a man and the machine that's why I think American cruisers like this really appeal to people, is because you feel a part of the action at all times. Now you can see this wind is pretty good. It's to my right here. So far this bike is doing really well at holding track, despite the wind trying to push against it. The weight of this bike is actually really well. Now I know it's, you know, close to an 800-pound machine, but to be honest, you don't really feel much of that weight whatsoever. It rides much, much lighter. The weight is really well stored on the bottom end of it. The clutch is, of course, cable actuated, non-assisted, but it actually is a very easy pull. It's a firm pull, but it's not hard. It's not something that's going to be tough for you to continue to operate. Just a nice, firm, progressive pull will get that clutch in, and it responds rather well. Your friction zone is about the number 3 position. If number 1 is all the way in and 5 is all the way out, you're looking at 2.5 to 3 on the engagement of the friction zone. So very normal operation of the clutch. And of course the transmission on this thing feels heavy duty, but it clicks in and clicks out of place very easily and does not produce any false neutrals, which I can get along with. I don't mind a transmission that's a little clunky, but definitely has a surefire feel to it. So right now I'm in 6th gear. We're doing 45 miles an hour, typical street speed, about 1600 RPM. Feels a little bogged down, so we'll go ahead and put her back into 5th gear. Like I said, more around that 2000 RPM range. When you're in 5th gear, you're at 1950, and you're getting about as perfect as you can for this thing's feel. It's not feeling bogged down whatsoever. It's feeling right perfect in the spot that it needs to be. Just love the way these engines sound. I mean, this is one of those things where the exhaust note is actually rather well just subdued, but as these bikes wear, the sound just gets deeper and deeper and better and better. And of course, you can see there's a little fuel gauge right there too, so it's got all the information you need. So it's got the digital and it's got the analog, just in case something fails, right? But yeah, the Springfield definitely, you know, like I said, I definitely don't mind the older Springfield. I don't mind having the bar down. You know, that's kind of the old Road King feel. It's having that bar a little bit more down. This one looks squarely in line at the Road King Special. Almost the color scheming does the same thing too, because they have the olive gold over at Harley Davidson and they have the sagebrush here. And of course they're all blacked out, and the Special started coming with the bigger 114 engine, all that stuff. And here comes the Springfield Dark Horse with the same deal going on. But the one thing that actually takes away is that I like the original Road King a lot better than I like the Road King Special. I'm gonna have to say I like this one better than the standard Springfield. I like this more fist in the wind approach, and the thing is, it doesn't take away from it. Like the seat on the other Road King feels so much more different than its other counterpart. It feels like it's that more slim seat from the Street Glide versus the big fat seat that usually comes on a Road King. And there's a reason why it's called the Road King. You want the bigger seat, you want the bigger comfort, and this bike does not take away from that. It uses pretty much the same seat as the rest of the Indian lineup. Like I said, I could use a little bit more downward position on the handlebars, but I'm not going to take that away from this bike, because this bike can be adjusted, and that's the thing. It's not adjusted for me, it's adjusted for whoever's going to buy it. So I'm just taking this out as a brand new machine that only had, let's see, like 40 miles on it, 57 miles on it now. So it's not going to be anything that I can fix, you know, just for a test ride, but it's something that as an owner or a buyer of this machine, you'll be able to get this thing in a position that you like it, and then be able to ride this for a long time to come. And to be honest, where it's at, yes, I would like a little bit more being set back, but it's not uncomfortable the way it is either. Pulls like a freight train. Catching that car too quick. But now this thing, where a Goldwing in touring is going to be the scalpel, the fine instrument of precision, this thing is definitely going to be the bludgeon. But there's nothing wrong with it. It feels really good. The suspension feels refined. The engine feels refined. It just has a different feel of refinement. It's more of a refined perfection of the American motorcycle, where you have the vibration, but not enough to be everywhere through the bike at all times. But you can feel it. You are part of the machine. It has all the torque in the world, but not the horsepower. It's not going to be just taking off like a spaceship, but it's going to freaking move the world toward it. As you spin that rear wheel up and that torque hits the ground, the world starts spinning a little faster. It's just a different way to ride. And if you like the feel of moving the earth versus slicing in the air, this is definitely the bike for you. And like I said, I really am enjoying the new ergonomics on it. I really do like the way it feels. Just need a little bit, I mean, not even much, just about an inch, maybe not even an inch, maybe half an inch or so is all I truly need to make this pretty spot on to where I need it. Just maybe an inch, or it looks like about an inch, and it'd be perfect. And that's one of those, like I said, no big deal kind of deals, because you can actually rock these without changing all these cables and unplugging things and all that. It's kind of an annoyance when you're trying to make a machine your way and you got to pay $3,000 just to get new plug-in wires and time to stuff in everything. And yeah, no, I'm just undo the clamp and move the bar ever so slightly, and not everything is too tight to suddenly operate like certain manufacturers. So this is done, and it's done really well. The fit and finish is really good. I like the fact that we do have lockable saddlebags from the console, something that even the Road King Special does not offer. So you can lock these saddlebags, central locking, and walk away from it. And that's something that, even though the costs are so similar to each other, there's just enough difference and enough niceties to make this one come out ahead of Harley, because they just want to sit there and stay put, whereas Indian is trying to push this all forward. And you know for a fact that a Power Plus version of something like this is coming. That's going to be even better. But this bike with the 116, there's no heat, there's nothing I can feel that's really detracting from it. We already have a near 90-degree day right now. We're getting close to it. I'm running right into the wind, and I don't have anything blowing off into my leg. While riding away from the wind, I don't have any heat riding up into my leg. This thing is just riding beautifully and well and comfortable. Like I said, the only detraction I have is I need the bar just a smidge back to be my preference. But if you're a little bit taller than I am, you're not gonna care. This is perfect for you. And some people may like this stretched out feel, but I still like the bike. It's still fantastic. And I would take this over the original style and the old style Dark Horse with that lower bar, because I believe that happy medium is right there, and it would just be perfect from that point on. And the extra power the 116 offers makes this thing a rocket. Where the other one was a sled that was quick, this one's a rocket sled. Definitely needed that little bit of boost to make it darn perfect. So at any rate, this is the Rabid Hedgehog, and once again riding a brand new Indian Dark Horse Springfield with Indian of Oklahoma City. Once again, not paid by Indian of Oklahoma City. Once again, don't work for Indian of Oklahoma City. Not paid by Indian by any way, shape, form, or anything like that. Just a madman with an opinion that really actually likes this machine. Love the way it rides, love the way it goes, love the way it looks. Excellent machine. Well done, Indian. We look forward to whatever you got coming out next. Once again, keep that shiny side up, folks, and you have a great one.
What's up, everybody? This is the Rabid Hedgehog. We once again want to thank you for watching our videos. Please like, share, subscribe today, and if you like what you see, mash that notification button so that way you get our latest videos and notifications live and on the spot. We also want to thank our dealership partners, Indian of Oklahoma City, House of Kawasaki, and Motive Cycle Works Moto Guzzi, who is also our motorcycle mechanic. We want to thank them for allowing us to ride their rides. We are not paid in by any way by any manufacturer or dealer. We just get to be mad men and women with opinions. We also want to reach out to our sponsors and thank them. We have Law Tigers Motorcycle Lawyers. These motorcycle lawyers are mostly nationwide and can be reached 24/7 at lawtigers.com or 1-888-868-0208. We also want to thank our newest sponsor for gear and the things that you see us wearing, AGVSportUSA. They are out of AGVSportUSA.com in Flower Mound, Texas. We also want to thank Doug Crawford and AMSOIL for protecting our machines with the latest in lubrication technologies. He can be found at usasynthetics.com or 405-388-6170. And also for Derek Inlow and Associates Insurance Company, he can be found at 405-261-1010. Once again, everybody, keep that shiny side up, and we'll catch you on the next ride.